The District Line train pulls into Monument Station at 8:47 a.m. Regular Tuesday. Coffee cups, newspapers. That electric hum you stop noticing after your third year Then the walls start sweating. Not condensation. Not the usual damp that makes London's underground smell like a Victorian basement. This is different. The tiles are bleeding water that's warm. Hot, actually. A woman in a business suit touches the wall and yanks her hand back. The ceramic is radiating heat like it's been in an oven. 8 minutes later, the temperature sensors in the tunnel between Bank and Monument trip every alarm they have. But the control room thinks it's a malfunction, because the readings say it's 340 degrees Fahrenheit down there. That's not possible. That's baking temperature. By 9:02, the first tile explodes. Not from pressure, from thermal shock. The grout between the tiles turns to powder and the whole thing just detonates. Shards of white ceramic fly across the platform like shrapnel, and behind it, the concrete is glowing. Actually glowing. This dull orange color that you'd see in a forge. The station manager hits the evacuation alarm, but he doesn't know what he's evacuating from. A gas leak? Electrical fire? He's watching the wall and thinking about his training, and none of it, not one single emergency protocol, covers what happens when the bedrock starts melting. Because that's what's happening. 200 feet below the Thames, in a cavity that's been there since the Paleozoic era, something has opened. A fissure in the Earth's mantle that shouldn't exist under London. That can't exist under London, but it's there. And it's pumping magma into the ancient river channels that run below the city. The first person to see the lava doesn't scream. She just stops walking, stands there on the northbound platform at London Bridge Station, staring at the tunnel mouth. There's this glow, this red light pulsing from the darkness, getting brighter, and then she smells it. Sulfur, rotten eggs mixed with hot metal, the smell of the Earth's guts. The lava doesn't pour out like water. It oozes, creeps. This black crust forms on top and cracks. And underneath it's this impossible orange. 2,000 degrees, moving at about 6 feet per minute. Doesn't sound fast until you realize the platform is only 40 feet long. Someone pulls the emergency stop. Every train in the Northern and District lines jerks to a halt. There are 17 trains underground in Zone 1. 463 people just became stationary targets. The tunnels are brick, Victorian engineering. Brilliant for their time, but they were never designed to contain molten rock. The mortar between the bricks turns to ash in seconds. The bricks themselves start to melt at the edges, this glossy sheen spreading across them like they're being glazed, and then they collapse inward. Whole sections of tunnel just fold. At Embankment Station, a maintenance worker is checking the junction box when he hears it. This sound like a freight train, but deeper, throatier. He looks down the service corridor and sees it. A wall of lava, pushing air ahead of it so hot it's making the light bulbs explode in sequence. Pop. He runs, makes it to the emergency ladder, climbs 18 rungs before the heat flash hits him from below. His shoes melt to the ladder. The rubber just liquefies. He keeps climbing, leaves the soles behind, stuck to the metal like some kind of horrible art installation. The Thames starts boiling at 9:19. Not everywhere, just in patches. Near Blackfriars Bridge, the water suddenly erupts in steam. Tourists think it's a burst pipe. Then the water turns brown, then black. Then it starts glowing from beneath. The lava has found the riverbed. It's burning through 200 years of sediment, trash, and clay in minutes. The river doesn't catch fire. It just starts turning to steam faster than it can flow. The smell is unspeakable. Every dead thing that's settled in that mud since the Romans is now cooking. Underground, people are making choices. At King's Cross, St. Pancras, the deepest station in the network, a driver realizes his train isn't moving, and the temperature is spiking. He can see the tunnel behind him starting to glow. 200 passengers, one narrow platform ahead. He makes the call, opens the doors, tells everyone to run toward the exit tunnel. Don't take your luggage, don't take anything, just run. Half of them listen. The other half grab their bags, their laptop. One guy stops to get his phone charger from the overhead rack. 20 seconds, that's all it costs him. 20 seconds while a river of melted rock rounds the curve of the tunnel at Monument. He's the last one in the carriage when the back wall starts glowing, when the metal begins to warp. He drops the charger and runs. The escalators at Leicester Square fail at 9:31. Not from lava, from heat. The lubrication in the mechanism evaporates, and the whole thing just seizes, locks up completely. There are people. They fall backward into each other like dominoes. Someone breaks an arm. Someone else starts screaming about the smoke. But there is no smoke. There's heat, shimmer. The air is so hot now, it's making mirages in the station corridor. Above ground, nobody knows yet. The morning rush continues. Buses, taxis, people getting annoyed that the tube isn't running from Zone 1. They're checking their phones, tweeting about delays. One woman is literally standing on a manhole cover that's starting to warp, complaining into her mobile about transport for London. while 6 inches below her feet, the cast iron is turning cherry red. The first explosion happens at Waterloo. The lava hits a water main, instant steam expansion. The pressure is so immense it blows a hole straight up through the station floor. A fountain of superheated steam and debris erupts into the main concourse. Tiles, chunks of concrete, a section of rail track that flies 30 feet and embeds itself in the departure board. Now people know. The evacuation of central London begins at 9:44 a.m. But you can't evacuate the underground stations because the underground is the emergency exit. The stairs that lead down also lead up, but they're full of people trying to escape, and the heat is rising. Following, the air temperature at street level near Monument is 115 degrees. In the station below, it's 340 and climbing. The London Fire Brigade arrives at Cannon Street to find the pavement cracking. These geometric stress fractures spreading across the street like a spiderweb. A fire engine weighs 13 tons. The driver sees the cracks and stops. 2 seconds later, the section of road behind him collapses inward, falls straight down into the tunnel, takes a taxi with. The cab disappears into the hole, and there's this moment of silence before the heat blast comes back up. This column of air so hot it's glowing, orange, like looking into a furnace. By 10 a.m., there are 14 confirmed breaches. Holes in the surface where the underground stations used to be. Some are venting steam, some are venting smoke. 2 of them are venting actual lava. Little oozing flows creeping across Tooley Street, moving toward the Thames. The asphalt doesn't burn, it just softens. Turns to this black tar that flows with the lava, mixes with it. At Borough Market, the cobblestones explode. The heat from below turns the moisture trapped in the stone to steam instantly. The expansion shatters them. Pieces of 100-year-old paving fly through the air. One hits a market stall, embeds itself in a wheel of cheese. This absurd detail that someone will photograph. The Circle Line is completely compromised by 10:23. Every station from Tower Hill to Liverpool Street. The entire eastern section is either collapsed or filled with magma. The iconic Roundel signs are melting. That red circle, that blue bar with the white lettering, it's dripping, pooling on the ground. The enamel turns to liquid glass. What nobody's talking about, what nobody wants to say out loud, is that this isn't stopping. The fissure is still open, still pumping. Geological surveys will later estimate it's releasing about 40,000 cubic feet of lava per hour. That's enough to fill an Olympic swimming pool every 7 minutes. And it's all going into a network of tunnels that connect like veins under the entire city center. A television news crew sets up at Tower Bridge, tries to get footage of the Thames. The cameraman is adjusting his shot when he sees it. The water level is dropping, not quickly, but visibly. The lava in the riverbed is creating so much steam it's actually displacing the water, pushing it downstream. Barges that were floating are now resting on mud, and that mud is starting to steam. At 11:17, the national grid shuts down power to Zone 1. Every light, every computer, every refrigerator and air conditioner, gone. This is to prevent electrical fires when the cables start melting, because they are melting. Under Fleet Street, under Cheapside, the insulation on high-voltage lines is turning to paste. Some of them short out, send sparks through the conduits. Others just go dark, silently dying as the copper inside reaches its melting point. The strangest thing, the thing that will haunt people who were there, is the sound. London is never quiet. There's always traffic, always siren, always the general hum of 8 million people. But in the evacuation zone, it's silent. Everyone's gone, the cars are abandoned, and all you can hear is this low rumble, this subsonic vibration coming from below. And every few minutes, a building cracks. The foundations are heating up, expanding. The whole geometry of the city is shifting millimeters at a time. By noon, they've evacuated a 2-mile radius. 1 million people displaced in 3 hours. The roads out are gridlocked. Families sitting on their luggage on the side of the M25. Looking back at the smoke column rising from central London, it's not black smoke, it's white. Steam. So much steam it's creating its own weather. A cloud formation directly above the city that's starting to rain. Hot rain. These fat drops that hit your skin and sting. The British Museum is inside the evacuation zone. Someone made the call to leave it. The Rosetta Stone, the Elgin marbles, the mummies, all still inside. A security guard is the last one out. He sets the alarm out of habit, locks the door. Like that's going to matter. Like thieves are the problem. The lava reaches the basement of the Bank of England at 1:30 p.m. There are vaults down there, gold reserves. The metal has a melting point of 1,148 degrees. The lava is 2,000, do the math. Later, when they finally dig down there, they'll find these weird golden stalactites. Drips of bullion that melted and flowed through cracks in the vault door. Millions of pounds worth of gold in shapes that look like frozen waterfalls. What finally stops it isn't human intervention, It's geology. The mantle fissure closes around 4 p.m., not permanently, just pauses. The pressure equalizes. The flow decreases from 40,000 cubic feet per hour to 4,000, then 400. Then it stops. The last lava to emerge pools in the Blackfriars Tunnel and just sits there, cooling, hardening, sealing the tunnel with a plug of igneous rock that will take diamond-tipped drills 4 months to cut through. The final count is 43 dead, 17 from the initial tunnel collapses, 26 from the Waterloo explosion, 43 people who took the tube to work and never came. Their names will be engraved on a memorial they'll build near Monument, but that's later. Right now, it's just the aftermath, the smoke, the heat shimmer. The way central London looks like photos of Pompeii, and somewhere deep below, in the darkness and the cooling rock, there's a hole in the earth that shouldn't be quiet but not sealed, never truly sealed, just waiting.